Okay, so to change the Grom from AC to DC for the headlight to run an LED bulb, the first thing you're going to have to do is on the right hand side of the bike on the tail, you'll find this connector here. Now this is to supply power for the tail light. Now it's going to be a little bit hard to get on the camera, but on the back of it, there's a little tab that you sort of have to pop and squeeze, and then the connector's going to come off like that. That's going to make this next bit a hell of a lot easier. So, all you're going to need to do this mod is a piece of wire. Now, I've taken this off of one of my old 12-volt battery chargers, so I know that it'll handle the amperage, and an LED replacement bulb. I'm using an Auxito H4 in this case, and this is for a 2014 OG Grom. So, after taking the fairing off and locating this connector, all you're going to want to do is unclip it. So after moving the boot back a little bit, you can see the connector has a little bit of red on the bottom. So this black wire with the red, that's the wire that you're looking for. So what you're going to do is you can either splice into this side of the connector or this side of the connector. But basically, what it is that you're going to do is you're going to remove this black wire with this sleeve here. So this may be very hard to get on camera, but if you look just above the metal tabs, you will see there's like this little tiny plastic like lever. You have to push that up, like upwards towards the top of the connector, and then the wire will slide out the back. So once you've got your black like this, all you're going to do is you're going to run the positive wire that you have on the side. So for me, it's going to be this red one. You're going to run this, you're going to splice this into this cable. So after you're finished, you should have something like this. So there's my connector, there's my black wire, and there is my wire that's bridged into it. And this, I dropped a little bit of a dab of solder just on the inside of these two connectors here, where that metal sheathing was, and that's just going to obviously help it stay in place and obviously make sure it gets good electrical contact, because obviously now we're going to be running the headlight off of the tail light power. So after you've now done this, you're going to be left with a little bit of wire obviously running, and what we're going to take off next is we're going to take off this 10mm bolt holding the rear brake reservoir, and then these two 10mm bolts holding the rectifier. Okay, so now we have the rectifier free. We're going to pull up this boot here, and what we're looking for is this bottom right hand plug that we can see that's got two yellow wires running into it and then a white wire above it. This yellow wire, this is what we want. So what we're going to do is we are going to unplug the rectifier, which is as simple as squeeze it together and then pop it off. Now mine hasn't been off apparently in a few years, so this is probably going to take both hands, but I will cut back once this is off. Okay, so this can be really stiff, I'll warn you. So after getting this off, as I said, the wire we're looking for is this yellow wire. Now what we're going to do is, if you look down, it's going to be the bottom left. It's really hard to pick up on camera, but if you look, there's a little tiny lever that holds this connector into place. What we're going to do is you're going to put a tiny flathead screwdriver in there, push that lever out, and remove this yellow wire out of the back. On the back of the connector, you can actually see on the other side here, this gold lever in the middle, this is what you're going to be going through that top gap there and pushing this lever down. So after you've done that on the yellow connector, this is what you're going to end up with. Now, what you're going to do is this red wire, which you have spliced into the tail light power, you're going to splice it into this yellow wire. This is your power for your headlight. So once you splice these two wires together, what that's going to do is it's going to run the headlight off of the rear light's already DC converted power, which is going to enable you to run an LED headlight bulb in the front, which is going to dramatically improve the output of the lighting on the Grom. So after splicing the wires together, this is sort of what you should end up with. So this is my rear tail light power back into place, back on the connector, all tucked in. Here is my bridge wire, and this is running down into the yellow wire of the rectifier, which is now unplugged from the connector, and this is now ready to go back on. So I'm going to put a little bit of solder on this and electrical tape it up to keep everything watertight, and then move on to testing. Okay, so after everything's finished, you should have something looking like this. So there's my rear power light connector, power light's coming down. Here's all the regulator all bolted all back up and that now. Rear fluid power, rear brake reservoir, and the wire, I have run it down, and then you can't really see it now because I've covered it up, but there's a little, oh there you go, there's a little clip right here. I've run the wire in behind this clip, and then it comes up and goes into the boot from behind. So that should all be nice and waterproof, and that is officially now the headlight converted. We're going to move on now to installing the LED bulb. Okay, so with the headlight removed, first thing you're going to do, you're going to pop off the H4 headlight connector. Now my headlight is upside down because it's a little bit easier to balance. Then we're going to take off this here rubber boot, just for waterproofing. I'm going to take that off. And then the next thing is the headlight bulb retention pin. Now you just push this down and sort of away from the headlight. Can be a little bit tricky, but it will go. There it goes. Open this up. Remove the bulb. Now my original bulb is this is a H4 5000K 55 watt upgrade from Halfords. This is my replacement. So this is an Auxito H4 LED. So what we're going to do is we're going to line this up in the housing. As I said, mine is upside down currently, so line this up, in it goes. It's right at the bottom where it should be. And we're going to get the headlight pin, put this back into place. This procedure is basically the same as changing any other headlight bulb. And then we're going to reinsert the rubber boot. And finally, reinstall our H4 connector, which may be a little bit tight with the rubber boot, but it will go in. And there we go. So that now is our OG Honda Grom headlight replaced with the LED H4 bulb. I'll now put this on the bike and show you what it looks like. So if everything went according to plan, you can now see here is my tail light bridged to the yellow wire on the rectifier, which is no longer plugged in. The headlight is reinstalled, and now when we turn on the ignition, we should have light. So there we go. The headlight now turns on without the bike needing to actually run. And I can immediately tell that is quite a significant difference in the light output as well. Thanks very much for watching, guys. And I hope you do this mod to your own bike and let me know what the difference is.